And now the news. News.
We are live, it looks like. Hello, everybody.
We're sort of alive.
Hmm.
That's a relative term. Let's see. Go to the Technorama page and
Didn't show up in your notifications, right?
there it is.
It's not.
Share. It's July already.
I should change my little canned messages. Come join us as we record live. Things like that. Or episode so and so is up.
I need to turn the cooling down just a smidgen here.
Yeah, mine's not.
It's nice on that side of the room, but it's a little warm over on this side of the room.
Need a fan, a midway fan to kind of.
Well, I have a ceiling fan about midway, but all it's going to do is blow down on what it is.
Yeah.
I'll feel it on my ankles as the cool air creeps across the floor.
That's where the hot air starts, about your ankles all the way up.
Hot air from here up.
Yeah. That's right. I think it starts at your diaphragm. But yeah, I got it.
Anything above the belt is beyond hope at this point. Oh, wait. No, below the belt is beyond hope. Actually, it's all...
Yeah, I gotcha.
All righty.
All right, let's zoom into 150% so I can read.
Oh, yeah, that. And let's put up the pre-show banner. There we go. Yeah, print one of these on your 3D printer.
Yeah. I actually bought a little Wi-Fi dongle so I can make my printer Wi-Fi enabled. This one doesn't come with it. The Telugu Neptune. Yeah. So it only has, LAN Ethernet. So I'm like, either that or I have to copy everything to a USB drive and sneaker net it over there. But
you can hardwire it. What's wrong with hardware?
Well, there's the wireless adapter,
and
then it's like all the way over here to this corner.
You don't have to worry about someone hacking it.
There's nobody here.
You're in the mountains in the middle of nowhere.
Look, the people I know that come to my house, I'm not worried about hacking. Get it hacked.
Challenge accepted.
Well, it's off when I'm not using it, so there you go.
Hang on, I got a
boost. Actually, I came up with a great idea for something. I wanted to make this for a long time.
Yes.
But it just dawned on me the other day. I was like, why don't I just 3D print it? I use a like a glass in the bathroom, so when I brush my teeth and stuff, I can rinse my mouth out. Well, the bottom of it, because when you set the glass down and it just whatever little bit of water is in there, after a while it kind of starts to mold. I have to go wash it, So I was like, I wanted to dry out faster. So then I started thinking it'd be great if I had a thing I could put the glass upside down on, so the water would come, whatever little bit.
Basically a single-use drain board.
Sort of, yes, exactly. So then yesterday, after playing around with the 3D printer for a little bit, I went, wait a minute, I should actually just make one, so that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to figure that out. So I'm going to make one. So finally, I've got some things I want to make with a 3D printer are starting to come to me now.
It's finally hitting it. How long have you had that thing? A year?
No, I've had it since I think it's probably a year or so, maybe just a little bit more. Yeah, I would say it's about a year. So I printed some stuff on it. But now, well, in our old house, I had to put it in another room. I didn't have a place to put it in my office. I had to put it in Harrison's little bonus room over the bathroom. Over the garage. So now it's like right here. So whenever
you got your man shed.
Yeah, whenever I get the notion to build something, I can print it out.
Mike has joined us. Hey, Mike.
Hey, I need to open the chat so I can see what's going on. Hey, Mike.
I was still in the wrong section, too.
I like they don't give you an option to remove the StreamYard first comment. Can't dismiss it.
Oh, well, then let's show it. Oh, it's beautiful. This is an example. Click on a comment to show it on screen.
Nothing like a Mallard podcasting.
Streaming Mallard.
Yeah.
Streaming Drake. All right. Shall we begin?
Sure. Why not? We're here.
We went through all this work, days and days and days of preparation,
That's right.
and we will begin the audio recording in. Take the banner down. 3, 2, 1. Technorama episode 775 for July 9th, 2025. Hello and welcome to Technorama. This is the show that takes a lighthearted look at tech, science, sci-fi, and all things geek. If you are joining us for the first time, welcome to the show. If you are returning, welcome back. I am Chuck Tomasi from sunny Phoenix, Arizona, and right over there is Craig Stepp. How are you, Craig?
I'm doing good. I'm happy to be back in the Technorama seat.
Yes, it's been several weeks.
Several. Somebody's been traveling the globe.
Without counting up my PTO. Oh, that's lyrics from another song.
Right.
Which I'll be happy to sing at Dragon Con for free.
I'm sure I'll hear it.
Alrighty. Yeah, more than once. I am working on expanding my repertoire so I don't drive my friends nuts.
Yeah.
Like just before the show, I was going through some random songs in my playlist and went, hey, there's another one that's easy to play. It's got repeated chords over and over and over again.
Yeah, right.
So I'll be singing She Drives Me Crazy by Fine Young Cannibals as one of the many songs. And it has the same chords in a different order as With or Without You by U2.
And this is why I couldn't get you to buy in on my comment when I said, if you know 3 chords, you know 1,000 songs.
These are 4.
These are chords, whatever. 4 even make 2,000 songs.
And B minor is a challenging chord. I challenge you to play it quickly. It took me about 3 months to master that. I was like,
I remember
fingers don't bend.
This guy that was teaching me guitar a long time ago, he was a fan of he was very talented. He was a fan of is it Al Di Meola? I think I'm saying his name right. And he had a magazine with him on the cover, and he had this weird long, his hand was stretched out and making this chord that is like only a few people can really play that chord.
It's the brown note.
wearing brown pants. But yeah, it was kind of amazing, and just to see him stretch out. And Steve could do it. My friend Steve could do it.
That's awesome.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we had a good time last week. Well, a week ago, we got back a week ago from when we recorded this at the Grand Canyon. We went to the North Rim, which is a totally different vibe than the South Rim. South Rim, they're both beautiful in terms of scenery,
right.
But in terms of the people you run into and the crowds and whatnot, maybe it's just the time of year we've been there at the South Rim. But every time we've gone there, it's usually pretty crowded, and there are tour buses going from point to point to point, and you jump on.
Is that just the most popular spot?
It's also kind of one of those cultural hubs. When you go to Disney World and you hear like 15 different languages around you, that's kind of how South Rim is too. And North Rim had a bit of that, but not quite as much. It was South Rim. You get on a shuttle bus with 50 people from Malaysia. You're clearly in someone else's group at that point. It's
is it like those things they depicted in like the old Warner Brothers cartoons where all the Japanese people get off and they're all taking pictures and they get back on the bus and take off?
I like that. And the wildlife is different. And it's funny because it's this open canyon, but it's been open for a long time. So on the South Rim, you've got pinyon pines and junipers, and it's like 6,000 feet in elevation, roughly. North Rim, we have to go way around because there's no bridge yet. So go way around, takes another 3 hours to get there, and it's very chill. There's a big lodge. There's dozens and dozens of cabins, and I heard people speaking German or some German-like language, but it was just way more relaxed. And we had a star party every night. This is the 36th annual star party at the North Rim. So people set up telescopes on the patio. There must have been about 15 different scopes looking this way, that way, up and down. And the visibility was just spectacular.
I bet you could see a lot with just the naked eye.
You could. I'm like, goodness. It was one of those nights where there are so many stars out, you kind of lose the major constellations. I know Scorpio is up there, but there's just so much. and you could see every satellite going by, and there was a
Oh, yeah.
meteor shower for a while. The only planet we could really see was Mars because the others were either too close to the sun or behind the sun.
Behind
And
the yeah.
fortunately, it was a new moon or just the tail end of a crescent and then beginning of another one. So it was the moon was cooperating in terms of uh, the visibility, but man,
And,
it was amazing.
in 2016, when we went to New Mexico for our big Philmont trip for the scout with the
Yeah.
scouts, and we go, and once you leave the base camp and head out on your hike, for the week, that first night or two, it's like you realize how dark it is at night because you can see a lot of the story, just like you're talking about. You just look up and you
Yeah.
go, wow,
But yeah, you can look down and your eyes have adjusted and you can see, you don't trip over rocks or tree stumps or anything.
yeah.
It's amazing what you can see in that low light.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Hey, I learned something yesterday that seems like I should have learned it years and years ago.
Oh
It's
really?
it's the secret code of those coin cell batteries. Like a 2032 or a 2016
Yes.
or
Oh, there's a secret
2025.
code. All
There's a
right.
secret code. It's the dimensions of the battery. So 20 means it's 20 millimeters in diameter, and 32 means it's 32 millimeters high.
Oh, so
Or not
so
32
it's referring to the
millimeters high. I'm
size,
sorry, not 32 millimeters, 3.2 millimeters high.
right? So it's referring to the size,
Size.
the
Yeah,
physical size of it.
because most of them are 3 volts.
Hmm.
I think the 2016s might be 1.5. I got to double check that. But 2016s, I went, oh, that's why 2016s are half the height of a 2032.
They were made in 2016.
No, although I was going through my battery box while I was on the call with my friend Scott, and I found, I think it was an Energizer battery, like a C cell or a D cell that was expired in 2012.
Hmm.
I found another one that was expired in 2008. I went,
Right.
yeah, these are pretty much done. I'm not going to hold out any hope that they're good for anything
It'll
anymore.
work for 10 minutes.
There was a D cell that was
Jeez.
very fuzzy on the bottom.
Oh,
So
yeah.
disposed of that. And then I got down to this Ziploc bag in the bottom of the box. And I opened it up and it had 3 things in it. One
Okay.
was this white bullet shaped thing about, I don't know, 30, 35 millimeters long. And it had like a little wire loop on the end. I'm like,
All
I know
right.
what that's for. That's for like threading a needle. You stick the wire loop
Oh,
in,
sure. Yeah,
right?
I got you.
I don't know why it was in the battery box in a Ziploc bag, but hey, that's nice to know.
Maybe you used it to remove a battery.
Maybe.
Yeah.
The other thing was a stylus. I don't have it over here. I put it up by my computer for a reason.
Capacitive stylus.
No. Yeah, it was a pressure stylus. I'm like, this came from one of my old Palms. And I said, now the thing that made it unique was it had kind of like a ballpoint pen where you click it and it would get shorter and you click it again and it would get longer. So it had
Yeah.
this collapsible range. And I said, I remember this, but I don't remember what device it went to. And after about 10 minutes, Scott doing some Googling, he said, it's for the tungsten T1, 2, or 3. I said, yes, I had a T1 and a T3. I forgot all about those. Why I still have the stylus, I don't know. But the tungsten used to kind of collapse, almost like the old
Yeah.
Samsung blackjack phones. You can make them shorter, you can
Yeah.
make them longer if you want.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. So the tungsten was like that. And the stylus collapsed and expanded with the body of the thing. I went, okay, now I know where that goes. The third thing that was in that bag was a square piece of paper, kind of like those notepads you used to have that were, maybe 3 inches by 3 inches or 4 inches by 4 inches, whatever it was.
Mhm.
It had some of my writing on it. And I recognized the phone number. I said,
Uh-oh.
and there was a street address. I said, I must have been shipping something to the Raleigh office when I still worked at Plexus.
Okay.
So that puts it, I'm guessing late 90s, early 2000s. So this piece of paper is 25 years old, had some burn marks on it, which I think were probably from leaky alkaline batteries more than anything else.
Right.
Had a name on there of the guy who used to run that design center, later became the chief operating officer of the whole company. And then it had this 8-digit number, didn't have any hex in it. Don't know what that was for. There was a serial number. And Scott and I were trying to figure this out. I was like, what is that? Is that a Sun Workstation serial number? Is it a Cisco network? So we're trying to remember the equipment we worked with at the time and what this could be for. But it was just kind of a fun trip down memory lane. Had I found that piece of paper at any other time, except when I'm on the call with Scott, nobody else would have appreciated it quite as much. So there's like 3 people in the world that would have gone, I don't know what that is.
Yeah.
And, Scott and I are 2 of them. So it was one of those fun trips down memory lane. Well, that was fun. I have no idea. Oh, here.
I remember
look at this piece of paper.
Oh my gosh.
It's got holes in it. Let's see if I can get it where you can see it there.
That's the post-it that we used to calculate the orbit of,
I think it used to be
orbit.
blue. It's not kind of brownish burnt.
That's funny.
It also says $260 an hour. That's crossed out. Minimum 2 hours. And then underneath 260 is $300 an hour. I don't know what that was for, but it sounds expensive to me.
Yeah.
And then there was a number at the bottom underlined 62758048.
Yeah. It was your fee.
That might be a Sun machine ID, like a hardware ID.
It was probably to have a support tech come out.
Probably
$260 an hour
to replace an NVRAM battery.
Which you have a bunch of them in your little 2032s.
Yeah. They're all in my box still from 25 years ago.
That's what they were all in there for. Whoa.
Wow. We really took a trip on that one. We should probably get on with the rest of the show.
Wait a minute. So, by the way, when we started podcasting, not long after that.
Yes.
You were still working at Plexus, and I remember you talking about the Raleigh office.
Yeah.
Because you were anticipating going there at one point. And I was like, oh, well, maybe we should hook up, get together somehow. And so
we tried.
Yeah, I was gonna say, so it wouldn't be out of the question for you to have that posted as early as when we started podcasting.
It could have been in the mid 2000s. What happened was I had a business trip down there and I flew into Charlotte, but I didn't have time to get down to Rock Hill and back and then to Raleigh in the morning. So was it like a 3-hour drive from Charlotte to Raleigh? And
I think we're okay.
I listened to
you don't have to apologize now.
Listen to the entire backlog of Grammar Girl at that time, which was probably about 12 shows.
He had 12 shows. That's right.
I remember that trip well.
Yeah. Yeah, I remember I think we may have even taken a week off because of that or something. I'm not sure.
Well,
it's been a long time ago.
It was a long time ago. 20 years ago, Craig.
I know.
We've been podcasting for over 20 years.
I know.
Yeah. There's a lot of things that are coming up that are 20 years now. We're going, yikes. We'll have one in the history segment in just a moment. So, no, it's not in here because the history segment is on the 9th. Mm-hmm. And I wanted to make a special call out when we get to the Pass Me the Remote. Because one of the shows I watched is about July 7th, which means something to a lot of people.
Okay.
So let's continue on with feedback. We have our question of the week.
Letters. Oh, we get letters. We get your letters every day. Mailman, mailman, mail today. Reach right in and pull one out.
Doing.
Those letters. I love those letters. Let's find out what you got to say.
Oh, boy.
Mailman, mail today.
Our question of the week for you last time. Notice I didn't say last week.
Right.
What's the most absurd Internet of Things gadget you can imagine existing in the near future? You want to start us off?
No, you start off.
Okay, I'm going to start out with Steve London. He says adult toys. Why, you say? For your pleasure. But I think they already exist. And Kyle Nishioka responded to that one saying,
No.
You're going to have to click through the show notes to find out. It's not safe for work. So it was funny, though. It was funny.
Yeah.
It started with Tele. T-E-L-E.
You're halfway there. Just say it.
No. Go on. Next one.
All right. So Gary Lindros says, I would say a toothbrush that says you're brushing your teeth wrong. But yes, that already does exist.
Yeah, that exists too.
Yeah.
Kyle comes back and says, devices to monitor your AI agents controlling your home automation gadgets.
That's coming.
AI to monitor the AI.
That's right. who watches the Watchers.
Right.
Okay, so Mike Robinson, he was in this chat, I think, just a minute ago.
Yep.
Blender/juicer, keeping track of calories, recipes, and reoccurring items used for reorder. Toenail clippers,
Keeping track.
keeping track of nail growth, health, and wear. Alcoholic tracking and behavior history. In the future, I don't know if I want the behavioral history.
Nope.
In the future, your favorite pastime beverages will contain a bunch of tiny microscopic devices able to broadcast everything about your innards. It's you. It's innards you can find. Okay. So pet potty pads might soon diagnose many possible dietary problems, and you might want to pick up more pads. No.
Until the people are peeing on the pads. Stephen Weshy says it already exists. Amazon Alexa controlled toilets.
Yeah. Does it?
Let's see. We had a couple of shares.
Wait a minute. Does Amazon Alexa toilets already exist?
I thought so. I had one comment on one of mine from my sister, but my answer was an IoT pet rock. Let's bring back the 70s craze with the 2025 technology.
That's right. I did see that. That's
still a dumb idea. And Suzette says the Pulsar magnetic drive where you access microfiche files.
In other news, microfiche is coming back.
Yes!
I don't think anybody's looked at microfiche for like 15, 20 years.
I'll bet Congress still has something hanging around.
Yeah, I'm sure. Actually, it's been a few years now, but I remember we had taken our scout troop, not troop, but it was Boy Scouts at the time. We took them to the library, and they sure enough had some microfiche. So I'm sure it's still in some libraries, I'm sure, but man, talking about an outdated format.
Yeah, that was fun, wasn't it? And they still show it. You watch like a show from the 90s and they'll show things zipping to the right and then zipping down.
Here you go. So just to let you know, back in 2022, there's an $11,500 toilet with Alexa inside that you can put in your house. I'm gonna pass on that.
You can get a microfiche reader for $129. $249. Yeah,
that's pretty easy to scan in. I'm sure that a lot of that's digitized and gone now.
You have to go to each page and then go click with your camera.
Well, I remember it was really good for newspapers, right? Because you could, it was images. You could just go scan through them. But man, talking about searching through those, that was labor intensive.
You had to know where you were going. You needed an index to say it's
like
at
a date or something like that. Time
E4, like a map, so you can go to the right page on the right row on the right column.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. Hey, to think about it nowadays, you're like, that's exhausting to think about trying to search. You have to read all the little pages.
I have a hard enough time with my microfiche keyboard.
Yeah.
Or E-R-U. Damn it. U.
Enter your password 18Q.
That's how my keyboard goes right now.
You know what? Speaking of that, I'm gonna divert a little bit. This is gonna be one of those nights, I think.
We'll cut some articles short.
So I was on my my books tablet, has ink screen, of course.
Yes.
And I installed an app and I go, okay, I need to install my password. I was like, first off, I went, oh, I don't have one password on here. So I set it up. Then I went to go log into the app. And apparently there was a setting on there where, so I didn't have biometric set up, but it does have a fingerprint scanner.
Yep.
And every time I left one password, it would log me out. So then when I went to go to the other app to try and log in, it would never ask me to prompt. And I was like, I bet I screwed around with that like 30 minutes to get it logged into the stupid app.
The password by now.
Because I've got complicated passwords now.
Yes.
It's not like you can just go,
nope,
and remember it something to remember.
Yeah,
I spent 30 minutes screwing on that stupid app.
When we got the new networking equipment back in April, I said, well, I want to, this thing now has an IoT wireless. Unfortunately, you can't turn off the broadcast and make it hidden. That kind of sucked. But
Yeah.
I spent most of this past week migrating devices from my public network to my IoT network. And in many, many cases, you have to remove the device and re-add it. You can't just go in and say, change
Yes.
the Wi-Fi. So I didn't do that to a couple, like our sprinkler system, because I didn't want to even try to guess whether or not I had to, create the zones and set up the schedules. Like, oh, hell no, that's going to remain on my public. But all the smart outlets and smart plugs and smart switches, they're all on the IoT stuff. And it has like a 10 character, fairly complex numbers, uppercase, lowercase password. I got really good at typing that. It's actually really handy on like the Apple TV, because they have the straight across, and you just kind of swipe on the remote.
Oh, yeah.
It's got kind of a trackpad remote. That was easy. The thermostat, the Nest thermostat sucked because you have to keep going between uppercase mode, lowercase mode, numbers.
Oh.
Yay, I have 2 capitals in a row. I feel like I saved a click or 2.
You know what? Speaking of that, because I'm about to start doing that same thing, because I have my IoT network set up, and there's probably like 1 or 2 things on it right now, but I need to start migrating everything over. So I was thinking that, like my Google TV, which has you can cast to it.
Yeah.
Same thing with the Roku. Would you want that on your main network?
Why?
So it's discoverable by your phone or whatnot? If it's not on the same Wi-Fi, it may not see it.
Right. There are some things you will want to leave on that.
Yeah. And it's probably
TVs.
Huh?
I did not migrate the TVs.
Well, you said Apple TV. That's what I was thinking.
Yeah, the Apple TV, I rarely use that for much of anything.
Well, that's what
I found out the Reuters app on the old one, because it didn't come on the 4th gen. You can't load it. The 3rd generation, I fire up maybe a couple times a year because I liked it. Was almost like a visual RSS feed. Every time you tune in, it says, how much time do you have? 15 minutes, 30 minutes, 1 hour? Like, I got 30 minutes. And it would just feed you the headlines and short video articles. The app comes up, you get the splash and the sound, and it says, there is an error. Like, okay, they've stopped publishing content to this.
Yeah. Well, the reason I was thinking of the TV, either the TVs, or if you have a smart TV, or a box like the Roku or the Google TV, I was thinking functionality. So I don't know if I want to actually migrate those, because I'd be on the main one, and those are easy enough to change. So if I change the main password, it's not a big deal.
I had a case of brain rot this week.
Just today, or just this week?
Yesterday, actually. When you're really fluent on something and then you don't use it for a long time and you come back and you feel like a complete moron going, I used to be really good at this. Usually a technology thing, whether it's a programming language or a software package or piece of technology. I have no idea. So 2.5 years or so ago, I was getting really good at Tinkercad, free website that lets you put together 3D models and some circuits. It's a product of AutoCAD, and they make this available. I was making some of the 3D printed models when I was doing the Family Feud game, and I got really, I won't say expert, but comfortable with it. Line this up, drop that, center that. I came back to make some lanyard badges for Dragon Con. I couldn't remember how to drop an object onto another object.
Oh no!
It says, just use the keyboard shortcut D for drop. Like, yeah, but that will drop it onto the work plane. I said, I need to drop it onto another object. Use W. Click the object and make that your temporary work plane. Oh yeah, that's how it went. Yeah. I felt really stupid. It was like, yeah, I used to be really good at this.
I'll say this. I'll mention, I know you're tired of me saying this, but I made a watch band in Tinkercad, and I first I downloaded a file off of Thingiverse, and I was like, okay, just eyeballing it, looking at the design, is like, it might be the right size. So I printed it out. It was not, but it was close, but not was not. So I said, okay, here's what's going to have to happen. I'm gonna have to actually build it myself. So I watched a video on Tinkercad, and it went through the basics. It didn't go through the hey, add your plane and move it here, and like you were talking about. But I was able to.
You still had to do like the shape for the hole and then merge it in so that it becomes a hole.
Yeah, so you make it. Yeah, you drop in the empty space, and and I fooled around for a little bit, and it actually worked pretty well. The only thing I was trying to replicate was the end of the band. The one that came with it had like a long slope and then a end.
It in, yeah.
But all I did was I put in a curved rectangle, so it just kind of and it looked fine. But anyway, things like that, I was trying to learn how to use it, and I printed it out, and the first one I printed, it fit right in. It just had I had to trim off a little bit of the the base stuff that they put down, but it worked great. I used TPU filament, and I was surprised how flexible it was. Not stretchable per se,
right?
You can't pull on it really that way, but just bending it, I was very surprised and happy with the way it turned out.
Now you have an excuse to go get lots more colors filaments. I need more watch bands.
I know. Well, I've only got white. Actually, that was the one thing I was a little not disappointed. I was surprised at was the white. I bought specifically white filament, and it's a little translucent.
That's not bad for a watch band.
No, it's not. It's not bad. It's white, but slightly translucent. Not like your regular PLA where it's like, oh, it's blue and it's solid blue. Anyway, I had fun making that. It was a lot of fun.
We should probably finish up the feedback and get on with the history. That was a half hour into the show.
Hey, people are here to hear us talk anyway.
We're just hanging out. We're not going to leave anything left on the table for the Patreon show. Where's my fader for this thing? Hang on.
It's over there. On the 3D printer.
There it is. Okay, found the fader on this day in history for July 9th. See, I got bit rot in the brain again.
Yeah.
July 9th, 2025. It's the 190th day of the year in the Gregorian calendar. There are 175 days remaining in 2025. It was on this date in 1763 that the Mozart family started their grand tour of Europe. Woo! Mozart on tour! I got the t-shirt from 1763. It also lifted the profile of their son, Wolfgang Amadeus.
Hey. And 132 years ago today, Daniel Hale Williams, American heart surgeon, performed the first successful open heart surgery in the United States without anesthesia.
Ah!
Can you feel this?
That had to hurt. How drunk was the guy? I want to know that. Also, July 9th, 1937, the silent film archives of Fox Film Corporation were destroyed by a 1937 Fox Vault fire.
Wow. And it was also on this date in 1955 that the Russell-Einstein Manifesto called for the reduction of the risk of nuclear warfare.
Russell Einstein. Guess which one was the smart one?
Mr. Russell.
It was on this date in 1958 that a 7.8 magnitude strike slip earthquake in Alaska caused a landslide that produced a mega tsunami. The run-up from the waves reached 525 meters or 1,700 feet in the rim of Lituya Bay. I wanted to see that when we were on our Alaska cruise. We went by Lituya Bay, but you couldn't see it from where we were.
Oh, okay.
5 people were killed. There were like 3 boats. Go look it up, people. There's a fascinating story. You can still see the damage from 1958.
It's amazing. In July 9th, 1962, Starfish Prime tested the effects of a nuclear test at orbital altitudes. Starfish Prime is also an alien that came over and did it and left.
Yeah, he looks like a giant SpongeBob friend.
Welcome, Earthlings.
SpongeBob.
Yeah, Starfish.
I am Starfish Prime. Happy birthday goes out on this day to American inventor, the man who invented the sewing machine. No, his name was not Singer. His name was not Viking. His name was Elias Howe, who was born on this date in 1819.
An Italian composer and conductor, Antonio Respighi, was born.
Ottorino Respighi.
I can't never roll my T's and stuff. Ottorino Respighi.
I'll have a plate of that. Yeah.
Respighi. Yeah. I like the Respighi, please. Was born 146 years ago today.
John Archibald Wheeler, the American physicist and author, was born 114 years ago today.
And Dutch mathematician and academic Nicolaas Govert de Bruin was born 107 years ago today.
You get the Dutch guy.
Yeah.
Kathleen Booth, the British computer scientist and mathematician, was born 103 years ago today.
An American computer scientist and graphic artist Janice Laurie was born as 95 years old today.
American actor, director, producer, and screenwriter Tom Hanks was born on this date in 1956. He will be 70 in 1 year.
An American software developer, co-founded Netscape, Mark Andreessen, is 54 today. 54? He's younger than me?
Yeah.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah. It's surprising. There are some people that are younger than us.
I had a feeling he was at least
older.
4 or 5 years older than I am.
That's what I would have thought too.
Yeah.
American actor, director, and producer Fred Savage was born on this date in 1976. He's not the Wonder Years anymore. He's heading for the Golden Years.
Yeah, no. Speaking of people younger than us.
Ralph Macchio, 63. Don't laugh. You can never figure these kids
I know.
out. He seems like he should be younger than us.
He looks great. He looks younger than we are.
Listener birthdays this week include one of our longtime podcasting friends, Kevin Devon, on the 10th. On the 11th, Stephen Trow. Shadowbird 712 is on the 12th. Now I understand the 712 thing. It's taken us a couple decades, but I got it now.
It's only been in there since 2006.
It's his birthday. Yeah. Francois Buckaroo is on the 12th. Also, we haven't heard from Buckaroo in a long time.
I know, right? I was thinking the same thing.
Other longtime podcast friend, Ben Ragaton, who will be joining us at DragonCon, is on the 13th. He's got the same birthday as my sister. Cool about that. Anyway, that's the way it was on this day in history for July 9th, 2025. Are we done with the song?
Yeah, get him out of here. We can't afford it.
Bye.
Hey, we can't work overtime nowadays.
They don't get to play that high note. All right, we're going to rip through these articles pretty quickly. Controversy erupts as scientists start to work to create artificial human DNA.
This is like, don't make smart sharks or something. It's like in that pile of...
Yes and no.
Okay.
I'm curious because I want to know if they can do it. And they said a lot of scientists have a problem when we're doing gene manipulation on humans. So what this is, I kind of equate this to a software developer having a dev instance. You can practice what you need to on the synthetic DNA. And then if it works, then you move into real meat space.
Hey,
yeah.
Guess what I'm going to 3D print tomorrow?
You better have a really fine nozzle on that thing.
Yeah, that's right. 0.001.
So I thought the same thing. It was like sharks with freaking lasers. Yeah, just because you can do a thing, should you?
I know.
I was just watching Star Trek Wrath of Khan for whatever reason this weekend, and I was thinking about that, little dialogue that Kirk and McCoy and Spock had about the Genesis device. Like, but watch out. Now we can do both at the same time.
New Matrix. Yeah.
In favor of its new Matrix. Do you hear what you're saying?
Yeah. I don't know. It is interesting. And I think we should push the envelope on things like this. But I don't know. It just sounds like you're going to make some, super soldiers or something.
I know. I'm of two opinions on this. A, it could improve people's lives and defer or even remove certain diseases.
Perhaps
if you can figure out how to keep Alzheimer's at bay with something like this, cool. Neurological diseases, leukemia. There's lots of practical uses where this could be applicable. On the other hand, are we now getting into eugenics kind of stuff? Like, oh, I have, rough, scaly skin. I was born with that. This could fix it, but are we working towards that quote unquote perfect human being? What is a perfect human being? That's
that's just the point. There shouldn't be one.
On the other hand, if you're born with a genetic defect,
Yep.
do you have the right to fix it? If the person says,
Yeah.
my quality of life is absolute crap, but if there's a technology that could fix it or at least improve it, is that worth pursuing?
No, I understand. It's just that it's the same. It's kind of like what we talked about in the past about, human space travel. It's like, hey, my curiosity side's really interested in that, but the other side of me is like, you know how much that's going to cost and what we could do with that money.
Or hey, now that we have rockets, what else can we launch besides people into space? Oh, we can launch nuclear missiles.
My enemies.
Speaking of enemies, China has just announced that its science labs, they haven't been proven to be working in the military, has revealed these teeny tiny little drones the size of a mosquito.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's lovely. As if we didn't think there was enough spy technology out there.
Hold on a second.
First, the conspiracy theorists were saying, birds aren't real. They're all just flying robots for the government. Now we can't even trust the mosquitoes and dragonflies.
Oh, wait. Was that the conspiracy theory that there were robots?
Yes.
Oh, all I heard was birds aren't real. I was like, who makes up this stuff? I didn't know why they said
you got to watch more crazy people on YouTube, Craig. It's fun.
I didn't realize that's why. Okay. That makes sense.
Well, dinosaurs aren't real, but that's for another reason. I'm just kidding. I'm kidding.
The Earth's flat. That's what I've heard.
It is. No, the Earth is round like a dinner plate. That's an old Ben and Keith line.
Right.
All right.
But I thought this is an interesting use of technology to make something that tiny.
It is a cool technology, and it looks like they don't have any kind of wireless capability. So you send these things out. Now, they could be used for good, such as, a building fell down and we can't get a dog or anything in these tiny spaces. Send in a swarm of these drone bots and they'll report back. The thing is, they don't have wireless capabilities at this point, so it has to come back and then you download.
Yeah.
So it has to have
USB-C on the back end.
Flying around with a cable. We haven't figured out the wireless yet.
I think you'd have to have wireless on there of some sort, because it obviously wouldn't have like AI for object avoidance and stuff. I think it's still got a little ways to go if it doesn't have any of that.
I don't know. It's still a experimental science lab thing.
Sure.
Okay. We also have this article from dailygalaxy.com about a strange mark has just appeared on the moon. Really what it is, it's the Hakuto R Mission 2 impact site.
Oh, yeah.
So, if you've been paying attention to the space news recently, you've known that in the last couple of years, we've had a number of missions that have gone and tried to land on the moon, and it's harder than it looks because these things either tip over or crash or something.
Well, I've actually got a spin satellite launcher in the backyard, and I'm sending up my trash.
You're going to 3D print a drone to go to the moon? Is that what I just heard?
No, I was throwing my garbage up there.
So the Lunar Reconnaissance Orbiter, or LRO, is going around and looks at the moon and goes, this is cool. Look what I can see. There's this black smudge with kind of a white impact ejecta around it. They said that it will be visible for about a decade because you don't have a whole lot of erosion up there.
Well, I guess there's still some minor impacts that can push dust over for that kind of thing.
Yeah, the next thing that crashes next to it's going to obscure my crater.
No. How many little impacts does the moon still have? I guess it has stuff.
From what? From like comets and meteors and stuff?
Just little tiny, something.
Lots? Lots?
Yeah, because there's no atmosphere, I'm sure, but
right. Well, it does have an atmosphere. It's just really, 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 really thin.
Yeah.
And not breathable.
And by the way, I don't know about you, but every time I see these little craters and stuff, I always see them in the reverse. Look like a little mountain.
Depends on the light angle. Yeah, I know what you're talking about, because it's sort of like that illusion is the face sticking out or pushed in, and then they do a little turn. It's like,
it's like the moon is pimply. It's sticking out.
I blame computers because they always have the lighting and shadowing, the lighting coming from the upper left. Look, like the top and left borders of dialogue boxes and whatnot are illuminated. And when you change that, your brain goes, not making any sense. Is this now a hole instead of being a pop out? Yep. I don't know why our brains like to do that, but that just seems to be a thing they settled on.
You know what? I can kind of force myself to see them in the reverse, and
Oh,
then but them not think about it. And I don't know.
another fun illusion is when you see like two things sort of orbiting each other, and you're looking at them edge on, and they look like they're just kind of crashing into each other.
Yeah.
All right, let's. Speaking of
Oh wait, we got some comments real quick.
we do.
Well, let's start with this one. Alexa, activate heated toilet seat. Oh wait, cancel.
To 350.
my
Activate the toilet seat to 350.
Yeah, the Echo device popped up. Yeah. Taxidermy, your old guard dog can still look out for you. What was that referring to?
I don't remember talking about taxidermy or guard dogs. I think it's just thrown in a comment.
And Clinton says, tried a different approach.
I bought a band. You were talking about
bought a band.
Your watch band.
Oh yeah. Yeah, but that's not as much fun. And of course, last but not least, we're moving towards virtuosity, the weird science, right?
Speaking of which, we have another article in the Hacks and Strange Stories from hackaday.com. This particular person made instead of a whack-a-mole, he has whack-a-disc. It's got 5 3.5-inch floppy drives, and it's run by an Amiga 600. I'm going to show you a picture of this. I'm going to put it on the screen for the people watching at home. So I should have done this earlier. Share screen, entire screen, that a one.
I think I played this game before. It sucks. Trying to install Windows.
Whack-a-disc.
With a whack-a-disc.
Well, it's got some music, and as it goes, the disc pops up and you have to push it back in. But it's not always that consistent because sometimes the motor hits it a little too hard and purposely throws it out of the drive. So you have to pick it up and put it back in. You got to watch the video. It's actually kind of funny to watch this.
That's funny.
It goes for 30 seconds and you check your score. And I think there was a comment or something at the end that said, if you really want to make it look retro, use a CRT, but those are getting harder to find.
They are. Actually, remember pushing in floppy disks, it's not like whack-a-mole per se. Whack-a-mole, you just hit it. The disc, you actually have to push it in a little bit.
Use your fingers, yes.
Yeah, you have to push it in a little bit before it catches. Yeah.
I thought this is very creative. I love it.
It's fun.
All right, back to our normal layout till I find something else interesting to show on the screen. The other one that we have is from I don't know where you get this. Market Realist.
The internet, man.
This is okay. I do want to show this on the screen because this is a wonderful picture. I'm going to blow that up. It is this is just wrong on so many levels. Let me share this. Go back to our shared layout. So the Antique Roadshow had a picture of this guy said, I got this watercolor. I paid $1,000, not watercolor. It's a painting with pencil and pen and lots of colors from it was based on the Batman movie in the 60s. And there was a nightclub scene, only this guy took it a little further down the rabbit hole. And he's got Robin sneaking off with a blonde kind of heading out of the club.
Sneaking out. He's got that kind of hunched over look like, hope nobody sees me.
Catwoman is dancing on a table in front of the Penguin. The Joker's getting throttled in the corner by who knows what.
Yeah.
Batman has a blonde on his lap and her dress is falling off.
His hand's in the wrong spot.
His hand is clearly in the wrong spot. There's lots of drinking and fun going on. And when he asked the lady on the Antique Roadshow how much this is worth, now keep in mind he paid $1,000. I don't remember how long ago. They said it could fetch $6,000 to $8,000, and because Batman is still a very popular property, it's likely to go up.
Yeah,
but wow, there's a lot happening in this picture, and most of it's wrong.
Well, I was like, wow, that's a lot of money for this painting. I
know it's not. I wouldn't even consider this like a masterwork of anything.
It's like, I mean, I'd put it up there with like the dogs playing poker or something,
Not even that far. You didn't even paint the top half of the steps. Robin's gonna have a tough time jumping those 3 or 4.
Where's that door?
Missing steps. Yeah, there's no door.
Foiled again.
Joker, get me away out of here.
Joker. Yeah.
Choker is his name now.
I was amazed by that picture, by the way. So
That was
when I saw that.
Yeah, and when the lady said, it's worth about $68,000, the guy goes, "Holy money!"
Yeah, that's right.
He was ready for that one.
Right.
He was ready for that one. All right, quick shout out to the chat room. We have a number of people drifting in and out. Thank you very much to Mike and Clinton for joining us. We are here on Sundays at 8:30 Eastern time. At least we try to be, and we will be for the next 3 weeks. So hope to see you there. Look forward to talking to you. Join us in the chat room. Set your alarm, set your notifications on Facebook, YouTube, whatever it takes.
Mm-hmm.
And we want to see you there. Be part of the conversation, be part of the show, be part of the fun. Let's get on to the part where we thank our patrons because they actually keep this going. We got our payment just the other day. Thank you very much to our patrons, including Alexis Durand, Amber Elstad, Amy Bowen, Abner Braverman, Ben Vaughn, Brad Miller, Brian Brown, Chris Martinez, Chris MC, Dan D. Mancoyer, Dean Jensen, Denise Inglis. I massacred that one. Denise Inglis. Try that again.
Gary like said it a million times.
Jason Pollard. We should do it. Slusher doesn't just record this piece. Yeah. And it wouldn't be authentic and genuine. And every time we got a new member, we'd have to re-record it.
Just paste it in like a ransom note at the end.
John Clifford. John Noble. You never slow it. Crazy Joe. I was late the day I recorded this. Kyle Nishioka, Leon, Mark Kilfoyle, Mike Wills, Saturday Morning Media, Stephen Weshy, Steve Cody, Steve Therian, Steve Webb, Steve London, and Tim Cook.
That's right.
The man impersonating Apple himself.
Yeah.
The Apple impersonator.
Right.
Thank you, everybody. They have gone over to patreon.com/Technorama podcast. And, we should probably have a short link for that or something one of these days. We need to register a domain for the Technorama URL shortener. Oh, that'd be cool.
I already looked into it.
I don't know why I haven't done that yet.
Probably we need to brainstorm on a couple of names because I've already looked into it.
Domain. Yeah, like technorama.link or something. Just make it real easy.
Techno.
Tech.link. I wonder if that's already taken.
Yeah, it has.
All righty. Technorama podcast over at patreon.com. We're now going to get into a lightning round of what we've been watching on a segment we call Pass Me the Remote. I'll start since I seem to have the most.
Yeah.
I watched a classic. I started because I was watching on Netflix.
Oh, yeah.
And I was watching, I'm like, hey, there's a series about 3 Mile Island. Have I seen this before? I know I've seen a series on 3 Mile Island. Mm-hmm. And I went in episode 1 and I started watching. Oh, this is really familiar. This is really familiar. This is familiar. Jump to the episode list. And of course, the other 3 are all red lines saying, you've watched this before. Like, please put a flag on the cover art that says you've watched this before. All right. That's really irritating to me. Well, I got about 20 minutes into it and the guy mentioned the China Syndrome, the movie with Jane Fonda and many other famous people from the 70s. It came out 12 days before 3 Mile Island went, and it was eerily similar. I said, I never watched the China Syndrome. So I rented it on YouTube for like $4 and watched it all the way through. I think it's still a really good movie. A little crazy in spots and very 70s in other spots, but it was really wild how close they got that to the actual event. Like, maybe this was a script for 3 Mile Island.
Yeah, right.
Just turn off the water and get the reactor. Yeah. Oh, look, it's a false indicator. It's not actually high on, it's low on water. We're in trouble. So, China Syndrome. Yeah, you and I have been going back and watching a lot of classics.
Yeah, it's funny you mentioned that because in my we had a person, somebody was staying at our house this weekend. We had a guest.
Yes,
and they were watching Jaws, the 50th anniversary of Jaws.
Wow.
I was like, so I watched it just for a couple of minutes. I'm like, looking back at it, some of it was kind of. I mean, it holds up.
And some is almost comedic.
Yeah, some of it's kind of comedic, especially some of the dialogue with the teenagers and stuff. But yeah, it was kind of funny. Interesting to say again. Anyway, so yes, I've been going back and watching.
The creator of the summer blockbuster, right there, people. 50 years.
That's right, 50 years. So, Kim and I went to it's kind of interesting. It was a little theater in in a town right next to us called Flat Rock, a little area. And there's a cinema. And it looks like uh they took several office spaces and combined part of it into a theater, and they have a concession area.
Mhm.
And
Not
yeah, so
Office
you can
Space, the movie.
not Office Space the movie. So it's a traditional looking theater, but there's just tables and chairs so you can sit down and eat while you watch the movie kind of thing. It's a nice little place. And we watched Everything Is Going to Be Great. And it is it's Bryan Cranston's in it. And I'm trying to remember who else was in it.
Sounds
Bryan
like a Lego
Cranston.
title.
What's that?
Sounds like a Lego title.
Yeah, everything.
Everything's gonna be awesome.
So it just came out on the June 20th. As the Smart family wrestles with their oversized dreams, they come to realize that the struggle to find your voice and your place in the world can happen no matter what stage of life you're on. So the family, the father is really into theater. So he does plays and stuff like that. And so they don't have a lot of money because he's constantly into this. And his son is like super into it also, but the rest of the family is like, we're supportive, but not super into it. And so I won't go into it too far, but the family has a little tragedy, and they kind of have to find their way. So it was a good little, it's a more of an independent film, which is perfect for that theater, and I really enjoyed it.
Nice. I watched a number of things on Netflix. I'm watching a lot on YouTube, but I won't get into that. In fact, I had so many I wasn't able to do the geek library thing. But
Right.
there's a lot of fascinating stuff. The first one on Netflix is called Buy Now: The Shopping Conspiracy, and it's kind of got this AI that walks you through the 5 rules of how to make a really profitable company, like lie more,
Okay. Yeah.
hide the facts, take total control. And then they had people who worked at some of these big companies like Amazon, like Adidas, going, this is insane. We're ruining the planet, and I quit so that I could do something to fix these problems. Like consumerism is out of control. When people
Mhm.
buy, 15 hoodies on Amazon and throw most of them away after
Well,
one.
just look at Thanksgiving. They have the big Black Friday sales, and people
Yeah.
are tripping over themselves to buy a stupid
Well, and it just
TV.
keeps going. And the things they don't sell, the companies are getting rid of. They say, hey, we had this Black Friday sale, and then they go into Christmas, and Christmas goes, oh, now we got to get ready for Valentine's. If they don't sell all their Valentine's stuff, they gotta like toss it out. There's one lady, her whole video channel is about going through and digging through garbage, going, there's bags and bags of chocolate here. This is crazy.
I'm sorry.
And
I'm not
it's
going to take chocolate out of
it's
the trash.
perfectly fine. It's
Maybe.
it's like Dove chocolates in the Dove bags, in the Dove mini wrappers. Like,
Right.
what? That's
Well,
nuts.
it's not like you can send it back, so
If it's expired food, that's one thing, but there's
Mhm.
lots of food being destroyed, and they say, why can't there was what was it, a shampoo or something? They said, I think they were working, the employee was working at Bed Bath and Beyond or Body Works or something, and they were they were ordered to throw out this shampoo at the end of the week or something. They were throwing it in the dumpster, and then they realized that homeless people were dumpster diving and using it because it was still perfectly good. It was in the bottle, and they said, we
set it
need,
beside the trash can, for crying out loud.
the boss said, I want you to open the bottles and squeeze it into the dumpster so they can't use it, because we don't want to be known as the brand that homeless people use. Like, what? This is a humanitarianly wrong.
Oh, come on.
Yeah, it's got some really sickening info in here, but it's very fascinating. It makes
Yeah.
me as an American kind of feel guilty about this. Like, I really need to scrutinize what I buy these
Why don't
days.
you peel the label off of the shampoo and just give it to them?
They talked about recycling and e-cycling and whatnot. They said, oh, everybody feels real good about recycling. Most of what you think is being recycled isn't. Most of what you think is being e-cycled isn't being done properly. This
Mhm.
guy put a secret tracker into like a Dell monitor, and in what was it, Germany, and they're
Mhm.
not supposed to leave the country. It went from Germany to Belgium, it eventually ends up in Thailand in this basically a chop shop where these people are using soldering irons to like manually take the components off, and they're inhaling who knows what. And it's just like, here's a pile of these parts, and here's a pile of those parts, and they're on to the next one. And it was like, what? What? He wouldn't have known this if he hadn't stuck a tracker on it.
Yeah.
It was
e-waste is terrible.
Yeah.
There's lots of places they send that stuff.
Because a lot of product producers are not thinking about the end result. Walk into a grocery store and look. I actually just open up your fridge and look how much plastic is in there.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
And it's going into, you think it's going into the recycle bucket, which you hope will be, but no, not everything that's made of plastic gets recycled. And most of what you think has the little triangle thing on it.
And what sucks is because we have to take our trash off when, living here, where I'm at.
Yeah.
We do a lot of recycling because we go to the recycling center and dump the cardboard in here and the bottles and cans in the other bins. And then I go, I saw what you're talking about. I'm like, are they really recycling this stuff?
This water bottle I'm drinking out of used to be tonic water, and it's probably like 6 months of reuse and reuse. So
it's probably one of the bottles I gave you at Dragon Con.
Probably. But hey, I haven't used a whole lot of plastic water bottles lately because I'm either drinking out of this or out of one of my metal insulated ones.
It's one thing for long-term use, having plastic around, but I got a water bottle right there.
Yep. All right, on to the next one.
All right. Oh, that would be me. The Day the Earth Blew Up. It's a Warner Brothers cartoon with Porky Pig and Daffy Duck.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it came out last year, and it finally made its way to Max. And I was like, I'm going to sit down and watch this. So I did. I actually really enjoyed it. The animation and stuff was very reminiscent of like old Warner Brothers and maybe modern in the Ren and Stimpy sense, kind of crazy, kind of the characters stretching themselves or something. I really enjoyed this, and basically an alien came to Earth, and they think he wants to blow up the Earth, and there's a whole story around that. So I can definitely recommend that if you like cartoon movies.
Was he using the Pu-38 explosive space modulator?
No, but they did. He was one of the characters was saying something like that. I went, is he trying to make a reference to that? But yeah, no, I enjoyed it. It was good.
Another one I watched was Grenfell Uncovered. This is a story about Grenfell Tower in
the fire.
The fire, yes. Mm-hmm. In the block of apartments in North Kensington in West London in 2017. The 24-story building, they had quote unquote renovated it, but instead of putting on the zinc cladding, they put on aluminum with a plastic sandwich between them. And basically, what happens when you light plastic on fire. And they said it would have cost an average of 40 or 50 pounds per apartment to get the good stuff, but they were trying to cut corners, and the company knew it caught on fire. But there was also, the fire was accelerated by the crappy insulation job. Oh yeah, that cause contributed. So you've got
one thing after another.
3 companies going, well, it wasn't our fault because we also, this was already on fire. And no, nobody took responsibility.
Yeah.
72 people died. And to make matters even more wonderful is the policy in a fire in the UK is stay put, just stay in place, not get out of the building. It's on fire. Like, we will come and rescue you. So a lot of these people were staying where they were.
If you're in a high rise, that's a problem.
And they say, yeah, we need to change that policy. And I think it was like temporarily anything over 2 stories, the stay put policy just doesn't work. But I don't think it's official yet. It was really a sad story.
Mm-hmm.
But looking at it going, oh my gosh, it's amazing anybody lived.
Right. Yeah. I saw the trailer for that. I haven't seen it yet. So, I remember seeing the little bit where they said that there were emails floating around saying, oh, we're not clean.
Yep.
Yeah. Oh, by the way, real quick. So Clinton Alward says, a great performance by Jack Lemmon in the China Syndrome.
Michael Douglas was also in there.
Yep. And he also said that The Day the Earth Blew Up came out this year. I forgot it did earlier in the year. He said Bonnie, his wife, and him saw it in the theater, and it says lots of fun. It was. I enjoyed it. I liked it a lot. So the last thing, I'm not quite done yet. The last 3 episodes just came out. Is Ironheart, which is character Riri Williams is the main protagonist in it, where she is building suits like Iron Man does. She's not Iron Man, doesn't have his tech and money, so she's trying to do it on her own, and she wants the money, so she does some kind of grayish area things to get some money. And the first part of this season was kind of slow and uneventful, honestly. So I'm hoping the last part is a little bit better, and I see that the last part is better, but I'm like, why do they do that? It's like they stretch it out too much and get that kind of over in, on one side of the season is too, yeah. So anyway, I'm looking forward to seeing the last bit of it, and I'll check that out. And I don't know if you can see on the video, I am looking forward to Superman. Comes out Friday on the 11th. We'll go see that.
Look forward to hearing your review. I'm probably not going to go see it. To be honest, I am superheroed to death.
It's Superman. It's Superman.
It's like the 8th time for Superman, Craig.
This is the 8th time the charm.
The 8th time they're getting money. It's like, oh, I'll go buy the VHS of Star Wars: A New Hope. Then I'll get the DVD. Then I'll get the Blu-ray. Then I'll get. It's like, no.
I've been a fan of Superman for so long. I got to go see it.
It's a good story, but how many different ways can you tell it?
Well, it's not an origin story. It's not. So it's not like you're going to see him crawl out of the pod landing on the earth.
I like Superman too. I just don't. I wish Hollywood would come up with some new original material.
We'll see.
I'm not supporting. What did Brian Brown used to call it? Reboot rage.
Reboot rage. Well, this is a character that's not going away. Batman's not going away, and
it's not going
Wonder
away.
Woman's not going away.
Can we come up with some new material?
That's what I'm. This is not an origin story. It's a new story. So I'm hoping that we do get something new. Well, I'll let you know.
Yeah, let me know.
Yeah, I'll let you know.
And I don't want you to fanboy out on it. I want you to give an honest review.
You know me.
No, yeah, I know you. That's why I said that. That's why I said that.
Hey, look, I'm optimistic about lots of stuff, All
right, I got 2 more real quick. One is a series called Trainwreck on Netflix. They've had Trainwreck for American Apparel. Very sad story about a guy who, well, I'm not going to get into that one. But the one I watched that I put on the list is called Poop Cruise. This is the story about the Carnival Triumph when it was taking a trip from Galveston, I think it was, down to Cozumel. And on the way back, it broke down and people were like stuck at sea. There was no AC. There's no power.
So it's hot.
No running water.
Yeah.
The toilets are backing up, even though the people said, don't use the toilets.
Right.
It was biohazard central for a while. I remember hearing the story briefly. The ship was retrofitted because there was a fire that burned through all the power cables in the engine room, and that's why they lost all the power. They've refitted it and it sails under another name, but it's still the same ship.
Of course, it's a different name. It's number 2. That's the
Triumph number 2. Triumph the Wonder Dog. Okay.
Yeah, I did remember that story, and actually, we had some friends over, and they were talking about that other night. The same cruise.
What the thing that bothered me the most about this wasn't a story about negligence or whatever. The crew did admirably under the condition.
Sure.
It was these 3 women. They were on like a bridal shower cruise, and all they could talk about was, oh my gosh, the bars weren't open.
Well, got a point.
Hey, there's more important problems than, oh my gosh, the bars. And then they did open the bars for a while to try and raise people's spirits, but that just caused some drunks to get violent. And it was just a mess. There were some humorous points in there, but there were some heroic moments as well. The final one that I watched last night, as we record this, came out just in time because the day after we record this is July 7th. This will be the 20th anniversary, as I alluded to earlier, of the London bombings. And I remember, like, Podcast Paul, one of the early podcasters, was talking about this. There were 3 bombings on the tube, and there was one on a bus on 7-7.
Oh, yeah.
And then all those people died because they were, sitting right there with the bombs when they went off. But they were interviewing witnesses. They were interviewing survivors. And then a couple weeks later, on the 21st, there was an attempt at 4 more, but none of them worked because their batch of explosives was mixed improperly. It just kind of sat there and fizzled. And then there was a big manhunt, and in 8 days, they caught all of them. Spoiler alert. So this is a 3-part series called Attack on London, Hunting the 7-7 Bombers.
Wow.
And this one I do remember quite vividly because of all the talk in the podcast network about it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But I had forgotten there was like that second wave that didn't really work.
Yeah.
And oh man, I just thought, that was 20 years ago. The 4 people that were caught had a minimum sentence of 40 years. Hey, they're half done.
They're halfway there.
Living on a prayer. All right. We do have one last thing in the Geek Library. Neil deGrasse Tyson lists 8 free books every intelligent person on this planet should read. And he doesn't really give reviews of them. He tells you why they are important. Like he says, number 1, the Bible. To learn that it's easier to be told by others what to think and believe than it is to think for yourself. Number 2, The System of the World by Isaac Newton. The objective, to learn that the universe is a knowable place. Number 3, Origin of a Species by Charles Darwin. To learn of our kinship with all other life on Earth. He's also got Gulliver's Travel, The Age of Reason, The Wealth of Nations, The Art of War by Sun Tzu. That's to learn that the act of killing fellow humans can be raised to an art. Number 8, The Prince by Machiavelli, which is to learn that people not in power will do all they can to acquire it, and people in power will do all they can to keep it. Most of these are available on audiobook. All of them are available on ebook. I have downloaded all the audiobooks, and I will be slowly churning through these. Lisa talked me into a $7 purchase on audible.com. I no longer have a membership. Otherwise it'd be free, but $7 for the complete works of Sherlock Holmes by Arthur Conan Doyle. And
he recorded it?
No, it's read by Stephen Fry.
I think he was gone well before they started recording stuff like that.
The Scarlet Pimpernel.
Watson, get in here.
I have a book to read to you. Watson, come quick. I need you. No, that was the wrong guy.
That's right.
Well, for $7, it's like 71 hours of content. I said, that's pretty hard to beat. So I downloaded that, and we'll see how that goes. So lots of listening to do. I'm probably going to have to put a lot of my podcasts on hold. Most of them are news.
Sarah Rose says hello.
Hello, Sarah Rose. Thanks for joining us.
And Mike Robinson says, honorable mention, Dummy's Guide to Podcasting. Neil deGrasse Tyson mentioned. I do remember him mentioning that.
Oh, yeah, Michio Kaku, too.
Yeah.
Michio Kaku was on, I think it was on the Buy Now one that I saw. Anyway, that takes care of it for us. Our question of the week for next time is, if you could temporarily break one fundamental law of science or physics to make your weekend better, what scientific law would you break, and what would you do?
Gravity.
I would lower the gravity efficient so I could feel lighter.
So you could have just a couple of beers and you float around, and that could be fun.
Yeah, so is everyone else. How fun is that? Where are the flying cars? They're up
like,
there now. They're regular cars. They just
like,
don't get gravity.
oh, float
That'd
around.
be a holy mess if suddenly the coefficient of gravity changed.
Yeah.
I'm gonna have to think about that one. What fundamental law of science or physics would you to make your weekend better? We'll think about that and get you an answer for you next week. We're scheduled to record, but until then, we're going to bring on the music and let you know how you can get in touch with us if you've got a question or you want to answer one of our questions, or you found something we said that was intriguing or somewhat incorrect. Give us a call on the listener line, 707-530-2428. Still there, still waiting for your call, still has a funny message that I'll bet most of you have never heard. Ooh, you won't believe what our voicemail message says. There, how's that for clickbait?
Yeah.
707-530-2428. 707-530-CHAT. We made it easy for you to remember. Or if you prefer to send us an email, you won't believe what our inbox will do to your mail. It's technorama@chuckchat.com. Thank you, everybody, for joining us who joined online. Thank you for listening, and give us a binary high five, Craig, as we're out of here.
Right. 101.
Flying cars limited to Oscar Mayer Wienermobiles. And that's the recording stop right after your laugh.
Yeah, there we go. All right, everybody.
Thank you.
Yeah, thanks for coming in.
Have a wonderful week. If we don't talk to you sooner, Craig and I, we probably should start mentioning we'll be at Dragon Con.
Yeah, we'll start bringing that up.
Yeah, we'll put that in the show notes. We'll be there. We're getting there on Wednesday because Wednesday is the new Thursday, has been for a few years. And as I mentioned, Ben Ragaton is going to be joining us.
Yep.
We've got our regular 2 shows. So we've got Comedy Forecast, Technorama and Friends Sunday at 2:30. I can't remember when our Star Trek panel is because I don't think it's been scheduled yet.
Oh man, I don't remember hearing about that yet.
And we've got 2 karaoke sessions, one Thursday night and one Saturday night, and then of course the parade Saturday morning. So pretty standard schedule that we've had with the regular 4 or 5 events.
2:30 is Topic is Trek.
Wait, when is 2:30? What day?
Sunday.
What time is Comedy Forecast, Technorama and Friends?
Oh, I just clicked away from that week. Let's see. Sorry. I don't know. That's why I had it on my calendar. So we'll let you know.
All right. Yeah, and I'll be putting a thing on the socials with the schedule like I usually do every year. Maybe I'll even use the same PowerPoint as last year. So thank you, everybody. We're going to sign off here and go record our Patreon show for our patron members. And we'll talk to you soon.
All right.
Bye.